What is up, everybody? Welcome back to my channel. Today we are here for the next putter putt off, and today we have a really fun, we actually have 3 different discs that we're going to be throwing from today. We have the North Cove Z Luna, and this isn't just Z, this is, I think it's technically called Z Swirl, because it is technically a different plastic blend than a normal Z Luna. So we have Z Swirl. These are fairly similar. You obviously have just a touch more dome off the normal Z than you do off the Z Swirl, and that's kind of the big pull for a lot of people. And then right next to the Luna, we also have this disc. And if you know who popularized the Luna, who created the Luna, and who are the people that throw it the best right now, those are people that used to be on Innova that have now gone over to Discraft. And this is the Champion Aviar. This is what Paul Macbeth and Anthony Barella used to throw all the time. Now they're throwing these Lunas. A little bit more like this run is what they're saying. Let's throw all 3 of these, just battling Luna versus Aviar, and let's see which one of these actually fits the slot a little bit best. We're gonna start off at hole 15. Just a nice little straight backhand. If they turn and drift a little bit, that's fine. If they fade out a little bit, that's fine. We're gonna go the North Cove Luna, and then the stock Luna, and then the Aviar. I find that the North Cove Lunas, I haven't ever thrown one of these, so this will be the first time throwing one of these, but the North Cove Lunas, they're a little bit proxy-like, but they're like an in-between proxy and mid-range. It's really cool. Honestly, about the same. Better on the release, so it's a better shot. And now, this Eye Champion Aviar. These traditionally, Eye or Fly Dye tends to be the most overstable of the Champion runs. Let's see if this is overstable. Better, mostly, because closer to the basket. Very similar shot shapes. I'm excited to see what they look like when we truly bomb them off of 16 and 18. Let's go see if we can lay some lines and get some bombing tee shots. We're the short pad for hole 16 because we do have an Aviar. I know we have Lunas, but we also have an Aviar, and while I might be able to push the Luna to the long basket from the long pad, I don't think I could do that with the Luna. We don't have enough tailwind today. But as far as accuracy went, the Luna, which feels more like a P2 just because it's deeper, surprise, surprise, it was more accurate and closer to the basket. Well, the disc that I feel most comfortable with, or the feel, I'm gonna throw more accurately. However, this isn't the slot that I'm filling up with the P2. What I'm looking for this slot is something that's gonna go really far and basically be a shorter mid-range. So when I beat in a nice Proton Envy, that was what I was using in that slot. I'm thinking either Proxy, maybe Luna, something that I could just go really, really straight and really far for a putter that's gonna rival a soft thrown mid-range. Let's throw off of this tee. Champ Aviar is first. And left. Now for the stock Z Luna. And a little left. It's gonna be further left than the Aviar, but it might be further. And now for the North Cove. Basically that flat. I want that flat. And that one was straighter and further, which is why I think they're veering more towards the Luna versus some other discs, because you'll get that distance of a mid-range but the flight of a putter. Hole 15 was a reversal, so they're all back at 4, but North Cove back with the, but actually no, it's not a reversal, because this Aviar was closer to the basket. This Luna went further, but it was further away from the basket, so technically speaking, I think that it should be 5, 4, and 3. Make sense? All right, 4's throwing first throw. Here on 17, push it up this tunnel. Try to get as close to the basket as possible. Just can you get it high enough to stay in the air for long enough? Almost to the gap, or almost out of the gap. Now for the Aviar. Got a little bit more turn out of that, probably because it's an Aviar. It is a 2-speed, and it feels like a P2, so I probably pulled it ever so slightly. Now for the stock Luna. Grip lock, but honestly not a terrible throw. It was user error. It was the same shot path as the other Luna. It was just 5 feet to the right, so it's a tree. And so the interesting thing that I saw in the last throw was that while now granted it might have been a misrelease on my part, but I saw more drift and play out of the Aviar than I did out of either of the Lunas. And I saw more play out of the stock Luna than I did out of the North Cove Luna. And I think there might be a reason for that. The reason for that is all going to be in their cross-section and why people like this particular style of Luna better than all the others. And that is because as it gets up to this flat spot, this Luna goes straight across. It is laser beam board flat, whereas you hold up one of these Lunas, it has a little bit higher shoulder and it's much softer as it's going up into it. This one is basically, we're flat here, that's where we're going to stay at. This one has more tendency to pop up, and this one being a 2-speed in an Aviar and just in general a deeper putter is going to hold more air under it, carry more glide, and have more tendency to drift, because glide is really the tendency to hold over on that middle portion of the flight. It's that drifting portion. So as far as the last hole went, 1, so it was at 3, it is at 4, 5, now at 7, and then 4 to 7. We have hole 18. They're doing some work down there, so we're just gonna try to throw the tee shot right here into the open. Let's see how far down there we can get. The wind is a little swirly right now. It feels like a tiny bit of a headwind, so it might be interesting, but we'll get to see a little bit more play, I think, out of some of these putters. I thought that was going to stand up a lot more than I did. Interesting. Now for the Aviar, I'm going to try to throw all 3 of these the exact same. That way we'll get to see the same thing. Okay, that leads me into, we'll get into on the next tee pad, but I think I know why the Luna was created. Yeah. We'll talk about it more, but I think the reason the Luna was created is not to have an Aviar replacement, but it's to have a beat-in Aviar replacement. We're gonna look at the cross section yet again, because when you beat in a disc, what you're essentially doing is you're taking the plastic that's below the disc and getting rid of it. Essentially taking the parting line and beating it lower. Some people think that if you sit there and bend down on a disc enough time, it will warp the plastic. And while that may have an effect. The quicker, easier way is to just get rid of the plastic that's below the parting line. And then as time goes in, over and over and over, going in and out of your bag, this dome is gonna start to lower. You're gonna lose some plastic there on the bottom. Just gonna start to get dinged up. So what we get with the Luna is basically the same shoulder, essentially the same style of disc, but all the places where it's flat here that gives it a little bit extra stability. Look on the Luna, it's basically been worn off. So it's like getting a pre-shrunk shirt. It's a pre-beaten Aviar is what a Luna is, or at least this Luna is. And while this one still has that glide, so if you get it on a hyzer, it's going to want to pan left. We are here on hole number 12. That construction is messing with my head. Sorry. Hole number 12. We have a big wide open fairway. We're gonna throw a standstill, and we're gonna purposefully look at the standstill properties, because while I am throwing this Aviar better than I am throwing this Luna, I think it's because this Luna doesn't feel like a P2 but flies similar enough to this Aviar, whereas this one is just a touch straighter, and since it doesn't have the dome, it has more possibilities of going straighter, and it's just not going to drift as much. Anyhow, North Cove still has the box, and then the Z Luna, and then the Champ Aviar. At the end of today, the Champ Aviar is finishing kind of in the middle, in between this Z Luna and this Z Luna. But at some point I do need to test these two against each other specifically, because with the Aviar thrown in there, I'm not able to really explore the nuances between the two different Lunas because they're paired up with an Aviar. Let's go North Cove, and we're gonna go standstill. So watch how it's still easy to get the glide and the slight bit of flip up from standstill with this Aviar, with this Luna. It still flipped up just a little bit and then just held super straight on the hyzer before it faded out. That's great, but you're not going to get to see that out of this brand new Champion Aviar because it does have a little bit more stability. If I sat there and scrubbed it on the road a couple of times, it'd probably fly more like a Luna. See, that just held that line. It held the exact release angle, did not flip up, and it held that release angle all the way till it started to drop out and fade. Very, very point and shoot putter, which is why Aviar is one of the most popular on the market. See how this stock leader handles here. So I'm not getting more flip, I'm getting more drift, if that makes sense. The stock Luna versus the North Cove Luna. The North Cove holds the line, but the stock Luna is more likely to drift while it's holding the hyzer, whereas the other Luna just kind of goes straight while it holds the hyzer, which is kind of the issue that I had with a putter like the Glitch, but the Luna is actually fast enough to come out yet. So I might be able to get around that. We're just gonna throw 10 and then 11. North Cove has beaten out everything else, and it would take North Cove getting bottom and that specific disc winning out by both to win. Aviar, great. It's kind of in between the stability of my P2s and a Luna. Now, it's about the same stability as the P2s I'm trying to beat in. It just does, this one actually doesn't feel too bad, but this being this color, really hard to find. I've already had trouble finding it on the snowy fairway, even though when you spot it, it stands out like a sore thumb, but it's really hard to spot. So if I could find some brighter Champ Aviars, maybe. But what I'm leaning more towards right now is going a little bit faster, a little bit of a smaller rim size, so it just catches less wind, Just gonna go a little bit further without trying as hard. And throw the soft drifting shot here. Luna, Aviar, Luna. You know, that one's more stable. See what I'm talking about? The North Cove stayed super straight, just right down the tunnel. Didn't really do much until it faded at the very end. And basically the same shot. But that stock one, it just drifted a little bit extra. Will I end up bagging the Aviar instead of the Luna? No, I got this one more for this video and for testing purposes, because there's always a point in time when you need an Aviar just for testing, but it's too deep for the shoulder shape, and the shoulder shape's not high enough for how deep it is. This is just off enough for me to not be able to feel confident with it, whereas this, being a little bit smaller, a little bit thinner, a little bit lower profile, I'm throwing it more like a mid-range. You feel more confidence there because you're just a little bit more used to it. These, they're not necessarily more or less stable. They just have a touch more glide because there is a little bit more dome, so that when you do end up getting it on that anhyzer, if you roll or maybe there's a little bit too much wind, it's gonna hold over on that anhyzer a lot longer than the North Cove will. All that being said, see if we can pierce this gap. Stock Luna actually has it. I'm gonna be throwing the stock and the North Cove Lunas a lot more over the summer because this does actually interest me, so I'm trying to figure all this out. How do you get those two of the luckiest tree kicks? Oh boy, I hope I find that. So I hope you are prepared to see a lot more of the North Cove Lunas and of this stock Luna. For the time being, I know it did not take a spot in this video, but we're actually taking the P3X out and putting the Luna in. Proxy is still in the bag. I'm using it more as that like actual putter shot. The Luna is more for the actual driving shots and the slow mid-range shots. Loving the Luna is just not quite, I don't know if it's quite overstable enough to truly replace the NV, but we'll figure out the NV slot and maybe throw a lot more Lunas, maybe even get an ace or two. Hopefully you enjoy content like this. If so, please make sure to like the video. If you want to see new stuff, make sure to comment all that down below. Please make sure to subscribe. It helps you guys out with these subscriber only giveaways. Definitely helps me out as well. And until next time, I will see you out on the course.